A giant octopus-like Rahi pulls the transport to the bottom of the riverway. Vakama forces it to let go, but the creature grabs Matau. The Toa manage to rescue their comrade and pursue the creature. Some Kralhi observe the Toa, and one of them goes back to its master, Mavra, to notify him of the Toa's survival. Mavra orders the robots to bring the Toa to him alive. The Toa enter a huge cavern where they encounter and battle many aquatic Rahi that attempt to destroy the transport. Akmau's sphere is knocked loose and sinks. Meanwhile, the Toa are attacked and captured by the Kralhi. Mavra tells the Toa to return to Metro Nui and leave him alone. Winua recognizes him and tries to convince him that Metro Nui is destroyed and that he is his former colleague. Mavra disbelieves him. Vakama then escapes using his mask. Nua tells the other Toa about the underwater Rahi study, the event Taraga Doom called off 4,000 years ago. The Kralhi attempt to kill Vakama, but he destroys them and finds the Lacan ship. The other Toa Metro disable the Rahi and capture them. Mavra calls the Rahi to fight. 15 Vorzak arrive and enter the fray. The battle escalates out of control, and the Rahi begin to turn on each other. Oniwa nearly drowns before Winua rescues him. Oniwa forces Mavra to realize that his dreams are selfish and worthless. Mavra attempts to stop the fight, but is swept into the water and killed. He is revived on the Red Star. The Toa escape from melee and returns to Lacan, bypassing the battle and continuing to the surface. However, Oniwa is forced to collapse the roof to escape the Vaki. Nokama carves images of the Toa Metro on the cavern wall. The team then finds their way on the surface of Aqua Magna and discovers the island of Motunui. The Toa Metro explore Motunui and choose secured locations for future villages. Oniwa is confronted by a terrible Rahi which is running from a tunnel in Powahi. He realizes it might be a passage to Metro Nui. Vakama convinces the others to pour a small amount of Toa power into 6 stones as a precaution that, should they fail the mission, others will be able to fall through with it. The stones are hidden throughout the island. The team enters the cavern Oniwa has found. They find a Borak nest inside. Vakama has a vision of the future about the creatures destroying Motunui. They also discover a small, energized protodermis pool and discuss its effects. Matau and Winua encounter Kranua, which attacks them. The others arrive with Oniwa and Vakama, who defeat it. The Toa Metro encounter a large amount of Rahi, some dead, some alive. Nuju discovers that one of them is a sea creature that suffocated. Matau, irritated with Vakama giving orders, flies ahead of the others and becomes fused into the wall by a serpent-like Rahi. The rest of the team searches for Matau and runs into a mutated Muwaka who warns them, through Nokama, to turn back. They continue and soon find Matau, whom Oniwa saves by reversing the effects brought onto him. The Toa begin a hunt for the Rahi that attacked Matau, but instead discover multiple Rahi, all found mutated and dead by an unknown cause. Nokama finds a carving which shows the Barag dipping Krana into an energized protodermis pool. The Rahi Nui teleports into the tunnels and picks up the scent of the Toa Metro. It teleports again in the midst of the Toa. The Toa Metro are assaulted by the Rahi Nui. They soon realize that it can absorb their elemental attacks and that it has Kanoka Disc powers. The Metro continue their ferocious battle against the Rahi, which defeats Matau. Oniwa, Winua, and Nokama, in the final outcome, Vakama and Nuju work together and manage to make the Rahi grow to the point it dematerializes. The Toa recover except for Nokama, whose wound has become fatal. Eventually they agree to go on to Metro Nui, hoping to find a cure for her. The 5 are captured by the Karzani plant, who explains his existence to the Toa. He then offers a deal to the Toa, asking them to bring back energized protodermis. In exchange, he will cure Nokama. The Toa Metro agree and Nokama is temporarily healed to aid in obtaining the substance. Journeying further, Toa Niwa temporarily becomes the host of a creature that shows him a future vision concerning the Visorak. The Toa finds a vital to contain the energized protodermis. The Toa Metro come to the lair of Pterodax where the protodermis is located. The energized protodermis entity manifests itself to them, speaking about the universe and its knowledge about it. After refusing to give a sample of the substance, it begins to fight them with mutated Rahi. Eventually the Toa defeat the Rahi and the three of the four pillars in the chamber. The entity grudgingly allows them to scoop up some of the substance in the vial. However, the being attacks the Toa once their backs are turned, forcing them to bring the last pillar down. This destroys the chamber and stops the entity from striking again, but it is not gone. The Toa speak with Karzani and agree to give him the vial once he fully heals Nokama as promised. Doing so, the creature receives the substance and is consumed by the power of energized protodermis after using it. The Toa Metru make their way to the Great Barrier. The Visorak hordes, led by Sidorak and Rudaka, are summoned by Pterodax and invade Metru Nui. 6 canisters fall from the sky, landing in the sea around Madanui. Vakama encounters and defeats the fire entity, a being of pure fire made by the great beings. The Lacan, too, is built from the Vaki transport parts, the roots of their Karzania used to make it float. Unbeknownst to the Toa, the plant begins to regrow. A storm in the Silver Sea batters the Lacan 2. The Lacan 2 crashes into a Metru beach. A lizard who saw the Toa Metru gets attacked by Visorak and saves itself by telling its captor that the Toa Metru have returned. Toa Metru, under Vakama's leadership, make their way through Metru. Matau and Wanua are attacked by Vaki Warzak, but manage to escape. Visorak destroy the Vaki once they are gone. Oniwa leads them to a Vaki hive, realizing how the system overload from the power plant has changed the Vaki's programming. The Nurak and Kirak approach, and Matau uses his Mahiki staff to shift to a Warzak. They are about to kill him. Rotuka slices the Vaki staffs. Matau flees inside, where the Toa Metru have discovered a cocoon. The sonic entity attacks them. Matau defeats the creature made of sound with a vacuum. A mutant Lorak attacks the Toa, the creator of the sonic being. Nuju defeats it by coating its wings in ice. Oniwa is trapped by a Sukarak, but they are driven off. Wanua realizes that the Visorak have attacked Metru Nui. Vakama gets angry with him and fights Oniwa over it. They travel through the archives to the Colosseum to avoid the Visorak, and realize that most of the creatures which have come to Metru Nui were fleeing the Visorak. They encounter Growlok, an injured ash bear. The Toa heal it. The Toa Metru are ambushed by Keelarak outside the Colosseum and captured. Sidorak decides to dispose of them. Rudaka convinces Sidorak that mutating and dropping the Toa Metru instead of just killing them would add to his glory. They are mutated into Toa Hordika, who are dropped off the Colosseum to a sure death, but they are rescued by the Rahaga and taken to their camp. Matau wakes up and nearly attacks the other Hordika when he does not recognize them. The Rahaga Norek explains what just happened, including that they can no longer use mass powers and are limited to using their elemental powers through their Rotuka. The other Rahaga introduce themselves and explain who Kitangu is. Vakama stalks off and encounters a mutated Muaka, and is convinced by Norek to return to the other Hordika. The Toa Hordika starts searching for the parts to make an airship, which is used to escort the Matoran to safety. The Kraka attacks Rudaka, but is defeated and forced to do a job for her. The Hordika try to search for Taraga Doom, but are cornered by Visorak. They manage to escape, but fail to awaken Doom. Volparak are attacking Kikanalo, and Vakama angrily charges in at them. Qualis tells Nuju about the language of the Flyers, and Nuju fall prey to an Unarak trap. They hide in the sewers. Vorparak spies on Iruni, telling Matau that he was a Toahaga once. Gaki and Nokama are swimming in Gametru, and Nokama accidentally creates a massive thunderstorm. In the sewers, a Kagarak moves in on Qualis and Nuju. Brudaka tells a Bagarak her assumption, that the Toa will join with her.